Everybody talking about trying to hustle hard. Don't nobody want to talk about God. Trying to get it in. We trying to win. But don't nobody seem to know where to begin. Well, I'ma tell you something, and I hope you listening. Life gets better when Jesus. Life gets better when Jesus is your friend. You can tell him anything. He'll tell you everything. No competition, how you win it every day. Starting right, going hard, living big, like a star. You trying to get it, already got it. There ain't nothing no one can do about it. We living that best life. We living that best life. We living that best life. We living. Now I can understand you on a mission. Now I can understand you got ambition. You've been dreaming big since you was a kid, waiting for the dream to come alive so you can live. Well, I'ma tell you something, and I hope you listening. Life gets better when Jesus is your friend. When you give him everything, he'll give you everything. No competition, how you win it every day. Hey, going hard, living big, like a star. Trying to get it, already got it. There ain't nothing no one can do about it. We living that best life. Yeah, we living that best life. We living that best life. We living that best life. Oh.
Hello, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Diva discussions. My name is Chatney White, and I am the founder of Grown and Sanctified Divas Network, where our mission is to encourage, equip, as well as to empower women across the globe on how to not only become, but to also remain determined, inspired, virtuous, and anointed women of God, as well as to help push you towards fulfilling your kingdom assignment while living your best life now. And so tonight, we are gathering again for another Diva discussion. So tonight's topic is, well, first of all, welcome to those of you who are watching live. And if you are watching by replay, thank you so much for joining us on tonight. I know you could be doing anything or anywhere else, but you chose to tune in tonight. So for that, I am ever grateful and appreciative. So we're going to go ahead and get started and dive right on in. Tonight's topic, as you see on the bottom of the screen, is I trust you, Lord, but I'm tired of waiting. How to enjoy the journey and live your best life now. Okay, so as I trust you, Lord, but I'm tired of waiting. So how to enjoy the journey and live your best life now. I know that can kind of seem like uh, oxymoron in the sense we say I trust you, but a lot of us like to put that but in there. But if most of us be honest, we probably have said that statement to ourselves, if not out loud. Um, just going through life and going through different things and waiting on God's promises and different things that we know that He has said to us, or that we know that He is going to allow to come to pass, but it just may seem like you're kind of in this waiting game or waiting zone. So tonight's discussion, again, we're going to be talking about it. Okay, so if you've ever been in a place or maybe you're currently in a place where you are in a place of waiting for the Lord to fulfill his promises to you, or you wonder why God may has he's allowed such a lengthy delay, or you may feel like you're kind of in a season or a time of delay and things are not manifesting or happening as fast as you may like for them to happen, then this is definitely the discussion for you. And even if it's not, I'm sure that you know of somebody that may be in a season like this currently in their life. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you hit that share button. Go ahead and share this with someone. All right, because I promise you, uh, somebody out there, if not you, is currently in this place or has been in this place. And so even if you haven't, trust me, at some point or another, if you live in this world long enough, then you are going to experience and have a season like this. Okay. So but what I want to do and how I want to start off things tonight is I want to start off with a question for all of you who may be watching. So if you're watching live, or even if you're watching replay, and if you're watching the replay, make sure you put the hashtag replay in the comments. But this is still for you as well. So I just want to kick off and start things off with a question, uh, thought provoking question. So I want you to ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. One being you have no patience whatsoever. You just hate waiting for anything. When you want something, you want it like right now. No delay, no questions asked. You just want it right now. And 10 meaning that you don't mind waiting at all. You don't care how long it takes. You're just, you have all the patience there is in the world, and it doesn't matter if you have to wait an extended period of time. You don't mind waiting. So on that scale of 1 to 10, I want you to go ahead and just ask yourself and rate yourself. And if you don't mind, put it in the comments as far as what number you would give yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. One being, I have absolutely no patience whatsoever, like none, zero. And 10 being, you have all the patience in the world. You don't mind waiting. You don't care however long it takes, as long as it gets done. Put put that in the comments below if you don't mind. And I'm asking this question because I want you to think about uh, where you are currently as far as your level of patience. And I know we all have different levels of patience. And you know, being that we live we live in a world today, in a society today, where you can get everything at the speed of lightning. You don't have to wait. Everything, when it comes to our meals, we have drive through. We got DoorDash. You got microwave if you don't want to take a long time and prepare or cook something. We have the internet, the World Wide Web. You can get information like that in an instant. uh, we have Amazon Prime. You can get you can order stuff online and get it shipped to you in 2 days. I mean, there's so many different examples and ways of how we can get stuff very quick, very fast, and we're not used to waiting a long time for anything anymore. And that of course it can be a good thing. It definitely can be a good thing, a great thing, but then in another sense, it can kind of work against us in a lot of ways. So, for those of you who may have rated yourself a 5, no, we're gonna start the other end. But for those of you who may have rated yourself a 7, I'll say a 7 and above, as far as you just got all the patience in the world. You don't mind waiting for anything. It doesn't matter how long it takes, you'll wait. So if you rate yourself, let's say a 7 or above, I would say a 7 or above means that you have a pretty good level of patience if you gave yourself a 7 or above. So what are some things that you do to help you better endure the wait? Okay. What are some things that you do if you're having to now? We're gonna make this practical, okay? So I don't want y'all to be thinking all deep on me just yet. So I'm talking about practical. If you're having to wait, let's say if you're in line at the grocery store, if you're at the gas station and you have to wait, if you're at the post office if you have to wait, if you're if you're in a drive-through and the line is extra long and you have to wait, what are some things that you do in a natural sense that help you? If you're somebody that when you rated yourself, you gave yourself a 7 or above, what are some things that you do to help you to endure your waiting process? Okay, so go ahead and put that in the comments if you don't mind. So I want you to kind of think about that. If you're someone that, gave yourself you know, a high rating, and you just kind of feel like you got it down pat when it comes to that area of patience. So what are some things that you do that make your waiting process, your waiting time a little bit more enjoyable, endurable? And anybody can put, if you're watching live, you can put your comments, you can put your responses in the comments below. Remember, if you haven't gave StreamYard permission, then I won't be able to see your comments. So make sure you go out and grant StreamYard permission so that I can view your comments. But I'll go ahead and share some of the things that I do. Let's see, if I go somewhere, if I'm at the store, if I'm anywhere and I have to wait in a long line, well, first off, let me say, as far as on a scale of 1 to 10, and my level of patience, let me just say, I give myself about a 5. You know, just being, totally honest. I'm like right there in the middle because there are times where I feel like, okay, I'm good. I'll wait, you know. And then there are other times if we all be honest where, you're kind of in a hurry or you're thinking about I got X, Y, and Z to do. I don't feel like waiting a long, long period of time. Then, you know, in those times, you're kind of like, my patience is kind of like next to none. So for me, I give myself a 5. And so, but one of the things that I do to help me endure my time of waiting, that's waiting anywhere for anything, is I try to utilize that time to work on something else or do something else. Whether that might be responding to email or writing down a list of some things that I don't want to forget that I need to do later, or making a list for when I'm going to the store the next day, or whether that's reading a book or maybe following up with somebody or responding back to a text or missed call, anything like that. I try to use that time if I know that I'm going to have to wait an extended period amount of time. I want to try to fully maximize and use that time to do something else to keep and shift my mind and my focus off of the fact that I'm having to wait a long time. Whatever I might be waiting for. It can be waiting in line, just to, pick up something. It doesn't matter, or whether I'm at the store. I shift my focus off of actually waiting and what I'm waiting on, and I focus on or I do something else to fill that time with. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. All right. So that leads into how to actively wait in God. So we're going to be talking about how to actively wait in God because I feel like for a lot of people, not saying everyone, but I feel like uh, a lot of times we are, instead of waiting in God, we're waiting on God. And those are two totally different things. And so that's what I want to talk about tonight. And so part of being able to enjoy your journey and live your best life now despite whatever season you're in or whatever you may be dealing with, is that you have to learn how to actively wait in God and not actively wait on God. So that's what we're going to be talking about during part of our time tonight and our discussion tonight is actively waiting in God versus on God. Okay. And if you're just joining on, welcome to our Diva discussions. Make sure that you go ahead and share this broadcast. Tonight we're talking about I trust you, Lord, but I'm tired of waiting. How to enjoy the journey and live your best life now. All right. So we're not going to be tackling and handling as far as the trust part, because for most of us that are believers, that are Christians, I believe when it comes to us trusting, fully trusting in God, I think, we pretty much got a grip on that for the most part. We may have some, you know, areas of tweak, room for improvement. That's across the board. But I don't believe that just because you may have times, you may have moments where it's like, Lord, I don't know, or it's like, yes, I trust you, because how many of us can say that we be honest that we do trust God, but a lot of times it can be really easy for you know for our faith to kind of get like this because of how things may be looking on the outside. And that's where walking by faith and not by sight comes into play. All right. So, but anyway, I'm not going to fully get into that tonight. That's not what I want to talk about. I want to get into the other aspect of it, which is why I'm trusting you, Lord. While I'm in this process, God, help me to be able to enjoy this process and enjoy whatever season I may be in, and help me to fully be able to live my best life right now. All right, so that's what we're going to be talking about on tonight. So, how to actively wait in God. Now, how do you actively wait in God? All right, how do you actively wait in God? Let's talk about that. So, when you are waiting in God, there is a peace. There's a peace that you have and the joy. Okay, when you're waiting in God and not on God, you're not going to be extremely anxious or irritable uh, about being in a time of waiting. Okay, because when you're waiting in God, you are focusing on your assignment and what you are assigned to do. You are focused on the things to come. You're looking ahead at your future. You're being productive. Remember what I had mentioned earlier, that if I'm somewhere and I'm having to wait, whether that's wait in a long line unexpectedly, or maybe I have a couple people ahead of me, or whatever the case may be, I want to use that time of waiting to be doing something productive so that I'm not focused on having to stand here or sit here and wait on something or for somebody. And so that's the same, that same thing applies when it comes to waiting on the promises of God to manifest in our lives, when it comes to on waiting to reach our ultimate destiny, and to reach that God ordained place that God has for us to reach. So you have to make sure that you are being productive in your wait. Okay. So that's what waiting in God is. It's not just sitting around doing nothing and waiting on something, or waiting on somebody to do something for you, or waiting on something just to magically appear. That's not what I'm talking about when I say waiting in God. That's waiting on God. When you're waiting on God, you are not at peace. You're usually always frustrated, always irritated, uh, never happy, always complaining, never satisfied about anything. And you're just hoping and waiting on something to happen, but you're never making any moves. But when you're actively waiting in God, You are not just sitting around. You're not just sitting, you're not just sitting around, you know, doing nothing and twiddling your thumbs and waiting for God to God to crack the sky and bust a move. No, you are also actively going to be making moves as God leads you, as the Holy Spirit leads you to make moves. So that's what actively waiting in God is versus just actively waiting on God. Okay? So put that in the comments. I'm going to wait in God, not on God. I'm going to wait in God, not on God. All right. And so moving ahead, when we talk about waiting in God versus waiting on Him, so we've already mentioned and talked about that. And again, if you're just joining on the discussion, we're talking about I trust you, Lord, but I'm tired of waiting. How to enjoy the journey and live your best life now. So part of actively waiting in God, as I, kind of already mentioned before, is also learning how to maximize any and every season that you may go through or currently be in. Okay. So let's talk about that next. How do you maximize any and every season that you go through? Okay. Give me just a few moments. Okay. So, how do you maximize any and every season? Okay. So, you maximize any and every season. First and foremost, you have to focus on the what instead of the why or the when or how. And when I say focus on the what is the lesson. What is the lesson that what is the lesson to be learned as a part of you having to go through this season? What is it that God may try to bring out of you, or what He may be trying to remove from you as a result of having to go through this season? But for a lot of us, instead of focusing on the what, the lesson that is to be learned in the season that we may be going through that may not be one of our favorite seasons, a lot of times we instead focus on the why. Why is this happening to me? Why do I have to go through this and nobody else seems to go through that? The key word is seems, because a lot of times we can feel like we're the only ones going through certain things and nobody else is having to experience that. And truth be told, you don't know. You don't know what somebody else may be going through or dealing with. They may be going through a similar season just like you. And just because they may not be talking about it, or you may not have had a conversation with them to know that. So instead of focusing on the why we may be having to go through this, or the when, as far as when will this change, when will it be over, how long will this season last? A lot of us, we're just so focused on, we want to hurry up and move out of or be done with the particular season of our lives. And the reason why it may not be, that season may not be over with, or that time for that season may not be up yet, is because there's still something that you may need to learn, or God may be trying to show you, or that God may be trying to remove and uproot out of you. And so we want to make sure that we're learning and getting every lesson that we need to learn out of each and every season that we have to go through, so that you don't have to repeat that season again, right? Because I don't know about anybody else, but I don't want to have to repeat any seasons or retake any tests. Okay, we want to get it. We want to get it right the first time around and not have to go through or repeat a season or repeat a test. So focus on the what instead of the why or the how long. And I got a scripture reference, for those who may need Bible. I got a scripture that I is going to be our base scripture for tonight's discussion when we're talking about waiting actively in God, enjoying the journey, living your best life now. So The scripture reference for tonight's discussion, and this happens to be one of my favorite scriptures, is Isaiah 40 and 31, when it says, "Those that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not faint. They shall walk and not be weary." And when I went back and looked at when it says those who wait on the Lord, and I looked further into that scripture, and I also looked at it in the Amplified, and it says, wait, it means to wait or to hope or to expect. So a lot of us are not actively waiting in God or waiting with joy and being glad about it. It's because we're not expecting anything. Think about it. Are you expecting? What are you expecting? What are you hoping for? Okay, when it says those that wait upon the Lord, when you are waiting upon the Lord, it means you're expecting. It means that you're hoping for something. You're expecting something. It doesn't matter what it may look or how it may seem or what's going on around you or what it looks like in the natural or what it looks like with your two eyes. Okay, you have an expectation and you have a hope because why? Because we put our hope and faith in Him above. So yeah, so when you get the opportunity, chance, go back and or look up or meditate on that scripture this week, Isaiah 40:31. That happens to be one of my favorite scriptures. But it says, "Those that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength." So that means if you are actively waiting in God and not on God, if you are placing your hope in Him and you're expecting something great, no matter what it may look like, or no matter what what it looks like or what it may seem like, that means that He's going to give you a renewed strength. You will have a renewed strength, and you won't be weary even as you're going through the journey and through the process, because your hope and your expectation is in Him, and in that He's going to give you a renewed strength, to go through and endure the process and endure the journey that He has you on. Okay, so. So let me go ahead and get ahead because I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. All right. So again, if you have any make sure that you like, comment, and share. Uh, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the comments, because I will be answering any questions at the end before we close out. So, but I want to move on next to how do you remain diligent through setbacks and disappointments? Because a lot of times we're not enjoying our journey. We're not we're not enjoying the journey or living our best life, uh, despite everything that may be going on, or things that may happen. Is because we experience setbacks and disappointments. And setbacks and disappointments is something that we're not going to totally be able to avoid. Okay, they're just a part of life. But how do you remain diligent through setbacks and disappointments? Is you have to remind yourself that a setback is just a detour. It's a temporary roadblock on the way to your destiny. So think about it. If you're driving in a car or if you're going on a road trip and let's say you already have your route or your trip mapped out. You know exactly what stops you're going to take, or and what exits that you're going to get off on. And let's say you get to your particular exit or whatnot, and they have a sign up and there's a detour, and you're not able to go the way that you wanted to go, because they have a sign up and it's blocking this route or this road, and now they're saying you have to take a detour. And this detour, it's going to take it may take you way off path, way off course, but you're still going to get to your destination. you're still going to get to your ultimate destination. So that's what we have to think about when we come across or experience setbacks in life. A setback is just a detour or a temporary roadblock. Think about it, if say if you're in a car and you're driving along and you come across a roadblock, you may be stopped or delayed for a period of time, but eventually that roadblock is going to get cleared and you're going to be able to continue and travel along your destination. Okay? So a setback is just a detour or a temporary roadblock on the way to your destiny. Also, when it comes to experience disappointments, if you look at and break down the word disappointment, this means to miss. So a disappointment, all that is basically is you missing an appointment. Now, I don't mean like in a natural sense an appointment, but when we think about a disappointment, a lot of times we have and we experience and go through different disappointments in life is because it's either one or two things. It's just not God's appointed time for that to happen or occur in your life, or God has something better in store for you. So now, whenever you go through or experience disappointments, you can, instead of looking at it as a bad thing, I now have learned to look at it as, in a sense, a good thing, because that just means that, okay, I may have been disappointed that this didn't go the way I planned it, or that, you know, for instance, just for example, you may have been disappointed that you weren't able to get in a relationship with a particular person, or that you didn't get the job that you thought that you had always wanted. You finally got the interview and you didn't get that job, you didn't get that position. Okay. I can speak from experience. That happened to me before. And when I tell you, I was so excited that I had finally got the interview for this job, for this position, but to end up not getting that particular position, I remember being extremely, extremely disappointed. And I was just like, God, why God, why? You know how we like to ask, like, why God, why Lord, why? Why didn't I get it? I didn't understand. It didn't make any sense to me. But then he revealed and he, showed me that that just wasn't for you. That may have been what you wanted, but that's not what I have for you. I have something better for you. And so when we experience disappointments and setbacks in life, we have to understand and remember that a disappointment just means it's not God's appointed time for that to happen, or that he has something better. And then last but not least, setbacks allow God to show himself strong on your behalf. Okay? So if everything always goes smooth and there's never, any problems or issues, then that doesn't, there's never any challenges or obstacles that you face along the journey, or when you're trying to reach that final place, that final destination, or in reaching your God ordained destiny. If everything is just smooth sailing throughout the whole entire journey, then that doesn't allow God a chance to come through and show himself strong. So again, it's all about changing your perspective and your mentality when it comes to things. Setbacks allow God the opportunity and the chance to show himself strong, to really show out on your behalf. Okay, a setback is just a setup for an extreme comeback. Okay, so that's how you remain diligent through going through any setbacks and disappointments. It's about changing and having the right perspective. All right. And then last but not least, maintaining your joy through the process. Okay. So I just talked about, and I'm going to piggyback off of that as far as changing your perspective. Your perspective is it's all about how you see things, all about how you perceive things. And so if you're going to maintain your joy throughout your process, or the process, the journey, that you're on, this journey in life, period, then you have to learn how to see the picture, the jar, the cup, whatever you want to call it, as half full instead of half empty. Okay? It's all about how you look at it. You got to focus on the outcome instead of what you're going through. Okay? Because if you continually focus on the minute and small stuff that's going on around you instead of the overall bigger picture, which is the outcome, then you'll never have or experience joy because you're focused on the wrong things. Also, a key part of maintaining your joy through the process is surrounding yourself with the right people. That is extremely important. If you always are constantly having people around you that are always negative and talking down to you and putting you down and never encouraging you, or are always, they just always find the negative in everything or the bad side of everything. They never uplift you. They never encourage you. I'm not saying that you should always look for other people to be around you and to motivate you, but who you have around you and who you keep in your circle is very important. And a lot of times, and for a lot of us, the reason why we don't have joy, or the reason why it seems like, our happiness is just always always depleted or being sucked away from us, is because we don't have the right people in our circle. And if you feel like right now at this point in time that nobody in your circle is like that, then it's okay. Ask and pray to God. Ask him to send the right people into your life and in your circle. For a season, you may have to be by yourself and walk alone, and that's fine. But I promise you, it's better to be by yourself and to walk alone than to have the wrong people in your circle who are not adding any type of value, who are always depleting your joy, your energy, who are always negative, who are always bringing you down. I promise you, you're better off being on the other side until God sends you the right people in your circle. So you want to, analyze, do some self reflection and assessments tonight, and go through and ask yourself these things and find out where you may need to make some changes and some tweaks, so that you can be able to fully enjoy the journey. Okay. And then last but not least, reward yourself along the way for any progress that you make. A lot of times we just keep going, 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 and we don't stop to acknowledge any of our progress, to reward ourselves. I don't care how small it is. I don't care if it's last week you worked out 2 days a week, and then the following week you work out 3 days a week. That's still progress. Okay, that's still improvement. So you want to learn how to reward yourself along the way for any progress that you make, and learn to celebrate all wins. So reward yourself and celebrate yourself. Stop and take out time and have those moments to celebrate and reward yourself. And that will make being able to endure the process, endure the journey a whole lot better and a whole lot sweeter. Okay. And also just take out time to just enjoy and do things that are fun for you, that 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 also bring you pleasure. So the second part of this discussion tonight was talking about enjoying the journey and living your best life now, right? And I'll be honest and say that, you know, I've always been one of those people that was like, well, I'm not going to do this, and this until I have, you know, all of this lined up, or until I have, these things completed in my life, that I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put that on hold. And so part of this discussion tonight, I wanted to speak to those people who have been putting some things on hold because you're waiting to, accomplish X, Y, and Z. You're waiting until your status changes. You're waiting until or only until I, get to a certain. I don't care if it's a certain income status, a certain marital status, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to. You shouldn't plan and prepare. To do certain things. I ain't going to bring some balance to this. You do want to plan and prepare. To do certain things, but at the same time, don't wait on every little thing to be perfect or for you to have every single little duck lined up, every single little duck lined up in a row before you do anything, before you experience anything. Because if you continue to live your life like that, then life will pass you by. And that's what we don't want. So you may have to tweak and make some changes, but if there's something that you want to do, don't put it on hold or put it off until, you know, you got everything else over here, done and accomplished. Because by that time, something else may come up. Or you don't know. We really honestly don't know how much time that we have left on this earth. So that's another part and reason for making sure that you fully enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey in the process of evolving and becoming. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to add this in. Another reason why I believe for a lot of us it can be hard for us to enjoy our journey and the process is because we're too busy comparing ourselves to everybody around us. We're comparing our journey to someone else's journey. We're comparing our status to somebody else's status. We have to learn to stop comparing our journey in our life to anyone else because we all have our own individual journeys to walk. We all have our own individual races to run. So it's important that we keep our eyes and our minds focused on the race that God has given us to run and that we don't look to the left or to the right, but we put on our spiritual blinders and look straight ahead and focus on the race that God has set before us and that we walk our own and enjoy our own journeys. All right, so that concludes our diva discussions for tonight and what I wanted to talk about. Again, if you do have any questions or comments, put them in the comments below, and I will be more than happy to answer those or address those. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Those of you who just came on, you have to go back and watch the replay. But make sure if you are watching the replay that you put hashtag replay in the comments and make sure that you do share this. All right. So before we get ready to head out of here, I just want you to put your key takeaways. What were the main things that you got out of tonight's discussion? Put those in the comments below. I want to see what were the main things that you got out of this discussion. Did this help you on tonight? So I'll wait a few moments. If you have any questions, comments, or if you have your any key takeaways, make sure that you put those in the comments. Put those in the comments. All right. Then I can't see any of you all's comments tonight. Does anybody have any questions, comments, key takeaways, anything you would like to add? Well, that's all of my time on tonight. I want to thank you all again for joining us for our diva discussions. Stay tuned for our stay, stay tuned for the next date for our next Diva discussions. It will be in July. I will announce and post the date very soon in the very near future. And also, I wanted to announce to everyone on tonight my first announcement that stay tuned and be on the lookout for the release of my first book. Will be coming up in the fall of this year. I will be releasing my first book, so be on the lookout for that as well. Now, we posted more information about that in the near future. Also, if you're not already following us, if you're not already following our Growing to Sanctified Diva Network page on Facebook, make sure that you go ahead and like and follow our Growing to Sanctified Diva Network page so that you can be alerted and be in the know regarding our upcoming events, discussions, anything else that we have going on. But thank you all again so much for joining me on tonight for our Diva discussions. And I hope and pray that you all have a wonderful evening, a great weekend as well. And take care and be blessed. All right. You all have a good night.